Hello and welcome. I wanted to do an update on the Hampstead Heath cafes situation. Last month the D'Auria family celebrated Alberto D'Auria's 80th birthday, and the 44 years his cafe has been opened, and then it was closed down. The new owner of the business, Daisy Green, joined in the farewell party. So Prue Freeman, who operates the 21 sites across the capital, these are ranging from like the National Portrait Gallery to a barge moored on the Thames at Richmond. So this cafe will now be the 22nd in the chain. It looks like the City of London got their way with this cafe, at least for now. But on the other side of the field, in the Lido, Matthews and Fernandez, through their company Hoxton Beach, are pursuing legal action against the City of London Corporation over its decision. They accuse the authority of unfairness and a lack of transparency in the retendering process. So, they've now been informed through their lawyers that they don't need to vacate the cafes next week. So far there's been a petition supporting them with over 22,000 signatures, a letter of endorsement from the Prime Minister Keir Starmer, and the local MP Tulip Siddiq has raised the issue in a parliamentary question. So, lots of opposition still, but however, the City Corporation has said it may try to obtain a court order to repossess the premises. So let's have a quick look at the City of London Corporation and who they are. So there's been a church on this site for almost 1,000 years, and this church was rebuilt again in stone in 1450. St Olive Hart Street was one of the few medieval churches to survive the fire of London, and Samuel Pepys is buried here. So I think the church was founded by a wool merchant, and St Olive's is the church for the Guild of Clothworkers Company as well. So the Worshipful Company of Clothworkers is one of the medieval livery companies of the City of London. So this one ranks 12th out of 114 recognised livery companies in the City of London. And so you just get that feeling that the City of London Corporation, it's very old and it's very powerful. The corporation exists outside many of the laws and the democratic controls which govern the rest of the UK. So in March 2016, it was shown that it had assets of £2.3 billion. So these are funds that were collected are made from the corporation's property and investment earnings. And this endowment, the endowment fund has been built up over 800 years. And the City of London Corporation took over management for running Hampstead Heath in 1989. This was when Thatcher shut down the Greater London Council, the GLC, and they were given the management of it. But also like volunteers. They're saying in 2024, volunteers donated almost 14,000 hours of unpaid work on the Heath. The City of London says that it spent £5 million a year on the Heath, and early last year, after a confidential report was leaked, I think it was leaked by a city insider, this report said that that they didn't want to pay any money, that they were broke, and they said that there'd be the report was saying that there would be a wave of paid for events, fee hikes and commercialisation to reduce the city's financial responsibilities. And, luckily for them, there's been an act of Parliament which gives the city more flexibility to monetarise the open space. What this means is that we've allowed the City of London to go from Heath management to business management, something the city instinctively will do if allowed. With increased prices to swim in the ponds and the Lidos, allowing more films to be made, more use of public space for commercial profit. That's seems to be obviously what's happening here with the attempted takeover by boutique cafe chains of our local cafes on Hampstead Heath. And obviously what we need is retaining community-focused, long-term independent operators. So I think some of the campaign slogans that were used were things like our Heath, our cafes, local choice, and protect the heart of the Heath. And I think that's something we've really got to. And that's what this looks like. It's like you've lost our local cafe. It's beloved by local people because the City of London have stepped in, taken it out of. Taking the responsibility completely out of local people's hands and handed it over to a chain of 21 other cafes around London. And it's just like just fat cat deal.